Profit is brought to you by StopToShop.com, and they've got some of the best prices on the internet for the new Emerging Power set. Now's the perfect time to stock up on playable cards like Gothitelle, Pokemon Catcher, Tornadus, or even the new Pokemon Trading Card Game Online code cards. Click on the link in the description to check out the set. When you do, you'll get a 10% discount on your full order at checkout. When you're looking for cards, make the stop. It's Stop to...
Hey everybody, it's JWittz here from the Pokemon Trading Card Game Show Profit, and welcome to another battle video. Today's video is between me and Carver again. This time I'm playing Zekrom with Tornadus in it, and Carver is playing Gothitelle+Reuniclus. Now the theme of this week was that we'd both be playing decks that had cards from the new featured Emerging Powers set. And I do apologize to you guys in advance, the table is a little bit shaky this time. I tried to fix a problem that we had last time, which I think is a bigger problem, and that's that there was glare over the cards. There's significantly less glare in this video, but the table does shake from time to time. Again, this is just the second one of these videos that I've done since a long time ago, so I'm still trying to figure out the best format for it, but thank you for bearing with me, and I hope that you guys still enjoy the match. Now we're both shuffling. I'll overview some of the strategies. My strategy as Zekrom+Tornadus is to get attackers out as quickly as possible, deal a lot of damage within the first 2 turns, and just lock my opponent out of a game just by giving them a lot of trouble. Carver's deck, Gothitelle, when it's in the active position, it prevents you from playing trainer cards, it prevents your opponent from playing trainer cards, but you yourself can still play them, so just acts on trying to get that lockout while still abusing the fact that you can play trainers like Catcher and such. And Reuniclus is there to prevent your opponent from taking prizes. Now, if they can't deal 130 damage to knock out your Gothitelle, then you can prevent prizes and keep doing damage as you like. So it's the ultimate fast deck versus the ultimate slow deck. And we cut, and we're about ready to go. I lay out my prizes, he looks at his hand, he lays out his prize. Oh, I guess that he's got a mulligan. Actually, a really good hand, too. He had 2 twins, sages, lots of other things. One thing is, obviously, we did this right after Emerging Powers came out, and we just did not own 4 Gothitelle. I think we only owned 1, combined me and all my friends, so he's proxying it. Normally, I want to get colored proxies printed so you guys can see the cards as well as you can, but Carver's printer ran out of ink, so we're just using black and white proxies, and I think that it's not a big problem in this episode. Every time he plays a different Gothitelle, he swaps it out with the full colored one, so sorry about that in advance. I believe we're close to owning all the Gothitelles we need now if we ever do another video with it, so sorry about that. Carver lays out his prizes and starts, and we're good to go. I believe he goes first. And Carver actually starts Zekrom. Now Zekrom's an interesting card in his deck. He's just running it for the same reason that Ross ran it. It absorbs a lot of HP, can get some knockouts when you move damage counters around, and that's about it. Unfortunately for Carver, he has no other basics. He attaches and uses Tropical Beach to draw a card, and that's about all he can do. Tropical Beach, that new stadium from Worlds, lets you draw cards until you have 7 cards in your hand, and then your turn is over. Now on my turn, I played Defender. And I'm looking through my hand. Play another Zekrom. Obviously my goal here is to, knock out his Zekrom on turn 1, just with a turn 1 Bolt Strike ++ power. There's the plus power. And I'm just looking through my hand, trying to find the best way to use my resources to get all the energy that I can in play without burning everything else. I decided to play Juniper, discarding a Zekrom, Dual Ball, and some supporters, just because none of the other Pokemon were useful that I could get from Dual Ball right now, and I just needed a new hand. So I now check my new hand, and it's actually great. There's 3 Lightning Energy in it, and a Dual Ball, a Junk Arm. So all I really need is between 2 Dual Balls, I need 2 heads. First Dual Ball, I get 1 heads. Search the deck, I believe I get a Pachirisu. Pachirisu works with the deck, you play it down. Self-generation lets you attach up to 2 Lightning Energy to Pachirisu, but only when you put him down on your bench. So that's the first half of how this deck works. The second half is playing Shaman and moving all energy in play when you play down a Shaman. So you want to move those energies from Pachirisu to your Zekrom. Now I play the Junk Arm, discard 2 other cards from my hand, and I play a second Dual Ball, and of course, I get double tails. With just 1 heads, I can win the game by doing 130 damage right here, and that would be everything. I see I show I've got 3 more energy in Pachirisu. All I need is the Shaman, and I win the game right here because of the plus power. Unfortunately, that's just how luck has it. I attach, move 2 to Pachirisu, and I now have no hand, and there's... Oh, I can do Tropical Beach to draw 7 cards. But, still nothing I can do, and I do not get that knockout. Now, obviously, that is a huge bummer, but it does go to show that this deck can be a huge threat. It can deal 130 plus damage on the first turn relatively easily. All I needed was 2 heads in 4 flips, which is what you'd expect, but you can get less. It happens, that's life, and the game goes on. Carver drops his Gothitelle, attaches to it, and catchers my Zekrom on the bench that does not have any energy, so it's going to be hard for me to retreat it. Hopefully I can get a Shaman, move all the energy up to my active. See here, I try catchering up his Gothitelle. I know that if I can keep knocking them out, he won't be able to get out his Gothitelle. I attach to the active. I play another Dual Ball, hopefully getting 1 heads this time. Of course, I get 2 now. And I'll definitely be getting a Shaman to move energy around. And I think I also go for the Tornadus, just because I already have the 2 Zekroms. It's just another attacker if I ever have to bring one up. Now, the whole point of Tornadus, which unfortunately I don't get to show you guys in this video, is that he has a fighting resistance, so he's really good against Donphan. He hits for 80 damage, he preserves energy. Unfortunately, against this matchup where Carver has a lot of high HP Pokemon, I just don't use Tornadus, so it is kind of a waste. He does let first turn knockouts become a lot easier, but I just don't think I'm going to be using him at all this game because I just need to deal as much damage as I can. I play an Interviewer's Questions, which is a single copy I run on this deck just to grab out energy in times when I just don't have them otherwise. I get 2 Lightning. I'm not really sold with the card in the deck, but it is pretty useful when you have all the Pokemon that you need off Dual Balls, but you just need more energy. The deck runs a high energy account, so you can usually get a lot from the Interviewers. I drop the Shaman, use Celebration Wind to move those energies over to the active Zekrom. And I have the knockout doing Bolt Strike on his Gothitelle. That's 4 damage on myself and 120 to him, and I take the first prize. Now obviously, my goal here is, now that I'm set up and he's not, all I need to do is keep hitting catchers, pulling up his benched Gothitelles or other Pokemon that he needs to set up, and if I can keep taking knockouts that way, I can deny him of a real game. Now he plays Collector, which kind of does hurt my strategy a little bit. It means that he can get multiple Gothitelles to block me out from getting the knockouts that I need and stopping him. He goes for 2 Gothitelles and 1 Solosis. And he communicates, puts a Gothitelle back into his deck, and gets a Gothorita. So right now, Carver's not really in that great of a spot. He can obviously start setting back up with the Tropical Beach or Twins now that I start getting a big lead, but right now he doesn't have very many energy in play. He only has the Zekrom to wall, and it does look good for me right now. However, if he does set up, it's a very, very bad matchup for me. So he attaches, and he has another catcher, brings up another one of my Zekrom that doesn't have that many energy on it, and uses Tropical Beach to fill up his hand again. My turn, I draw. And I check through my hand. attached to the active. So at this point, I'm just looking for ways to either get plus power or another catcher, because those give me prizes. I see the plus power in my hand, so I at least have a knockout on Zekrom if I'm going for that. And I do have one of the catchers that I needed. And here I debate whether it's a better call to knock out his Solosis or his Gothita. Now, if I knock out his Solosis, he's going to be much slower at setting up his Reuniclus, and without Reuniclus, he can't deny me the prizes that I can take. Or if I knock out the Gothita, then I put him in energy back, set him a turn slower from getting things set up, and that kind of stuff. And I debate for a while. I decide to go for the Solosis just because I know that it's, first off, it's an easier prize. I don't have to Bolt Strike with a plus power. And I also deny him from getting Reuniclus out. He'll have to at least bench another Solosis in order to do it. I played 2 Super Scoop Ups. These are just in the deck to reset those coming into play powers with Pachirisu and Shaman. So Pachirisu, I can reset him, put more energy into play. I already have all those energy that I got from the interviewer's questions. And those are just ways to keep the deck having enough energy to do damage throughout the rest of the game. And as you guys can see, I do have another Shaman, so if I do decide to put energy into play, I can move them more with another Shaman if I have to. I decide to plus power an Outrage, which does 20 plus 10 for 30. That way I don't have to damage myself, and I don't have to waste the Shaman to move energy over to do another Bolt Strike. So Carver puts up his wall once more, and I'm up. I've taken 2 prizes, and he hasn't taken any. Carver attaches and retreats his Zekrom, and puts up one of his Gothitas. Evolves his bench Gothita to Gothorita. Plays Twins. This is his first Twins of the game. No doubt he'll be getting at least a rare candy. And also a Solosis on the bench, so that he can evolve up to Reuniclus. Now this is actually a really great position for him, because once he can evolve up to a Gothitelle, I can no longer catch her, his bench Solosis, meaning that he's safe to build up a Reuniclus, even if he has to wait some time and just wall with his active Gothitelle here. So he does candy for Gothitelle, and now I am stuck. I can no longer play my trainer item cards. He can still play his, and that definitely hurts me a lot. The deck relies on things like plus powers and catchers to get all that stuff working, but now that he has the trainer lock, he can wall for a little bit longer and a little bit more effectively, denying me prizes. So he discards and decides to Tropical Beach, fill up his hand again, and I draw. Now I'm in a pretty bad spot. I can Bolt Strike right now and deal 120 damage to his Gothitelle, but he has 130 HP. So at this point, I probably have a lot of trainer item cards in my hand, a few energy, but no real way to deal with this bad situation that I'm all of a sudden in. I dropped the Tornadus. It's just another attacker, but it's not really going to help me. He only deals 80 damage. And I know at this point that if Carver has another Twins, I am in huge trouble. All I can do is attack. I deal 40 to myself and 120 to him. He attaches, gets out his second Gothitelle, and that's the one that's going to be attacking. He plays a Collector, which is not a Twins. Either means that he already has the rare candy Reuniclus, or he just didn't happen to hit the Twins again. And it grabs, I believe, a Misdrevious and a Jirachi. Now this is part of a combo in his deck that he uses. He uses Jirachi to get Psychic Energy back from the discard pile, and Mismagius, which lets you move 1 Psychic per turn to move. He of course flips 3 tails, on the Pokemon power, just wasting his Jirachi. And also his Mismagius, really, if he ever decides to use it. He plays Catcher to bring up my lone Shaman, just to force me to waste more energy if I want to get anything done. And he does his Tropical Beach again. So he did not hit the Twins, had no way to get out the Reuniclus, and that gives me one more turn to take one more knockout. I dropped the Tornadus finally for real. Not that it matters at this point. And all I can do at this point is take the knockouts that are given to me and hope and pray that he just keeps missing the Twins or the Rare Candy or the Reuniclus. I guess I finally don't drop that Tornadus, I drop a Zekrom instead. But I just know dealing 80 damage is not going to be enough. I retreat, and both of my Zekroms are in the same scenario, 3 energy with 4 damage counters on them. I see his Gothitelle on the bench has 3 energy on it, so I know he'll be dealing 110 damage on his next turn with 1 attach. I decided to drop Shaman and move energy over to potentially block him from damaging me for 1 turn if he has no way to get more than 1 energy in play on his turn. So I move 2 energy. I guess I move all 3 energy to the active. I'm just going to be knocking him out with Outrage, so I don't have to put damage counters on myself, and I can Bolt Strike later without having to play another Shaman. Now he brings up his Gothitelle, draws, and he drops the Mismagius now, and Twins for Reuniclus. So he's finally got that Twins, he's finally got Reuniclus, he can stop me from taking really any kind of prize if he gets the full combo out and can continually knock me out without loading his field too much up with damage counters. And this is pretty much the nail in the coffin for my deck. I can't do anything. He's got Zekrom on the bench, which can absorb 130 more damage. Reuniclus and Mismagius can absorb 90. And he has a second Jirachi. He flips 2 heads this time instead of all 3 tails, so he has 2 more Psychic Energy in play. And he can move one of those over to the active, and it screws up my calculations too, because he can move one of the active, attach one from hand, and his attack Mad Kinesis is now dealing 130 damage. So I'm knocked out, and I'm in big trouble. I know the game's over at this point. He can deny any prize that I want to take while taking a knockout every single one of his turns, and he will win in 5 turns. I don't think I play all 5 out. We'll see how far I do go, but I know that the game is won for Carver, and his deck just set up, got everything out that he needed. He avoided the donk by me flipping a double tails, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Now, I know it's not very exciting for me to kind of scoop out of this game, but he's going to take a prize every single one of his turns and deny me from taking a prize by moving damage counters with Reuniclus. There's nothing I can really do, and that is the game. Now, that does go to show that Carver's deck, while a lot slower, once it sets up, can really deny you. It's very similar to Ross's deck. The only difference is, now with Gothitelle, he can play cards like Catcher to mess me up, give me bad retreaters, or take cheap prizes, because he only trainer locks the opponent and not himself. The only bad thing is, like Ross's deck, the deck is really slow. Obviously, you couldn't depend on a setup like this in a best 2 out of 3 if it was game 3 and there wasn't much time left. Your opponent will naturally go up in prizes very quickly. Like I showed in this game, I went up, took the first 3 prizes, so assuming this was game 3 in time, he probably would have lost. So that's one risk to weigh out, but once it does get set up, the deck's a machine. Likewise, my deck is the exact opposite. I set up very quickly, I take cheap prizes as often as I like, providing that I can get good flips and get set up. But the only problem is, in the late game, I start running out of energy, start running out of ways to deal a lot of damage, I can't knock out big attackers, and the deck does have a trainer lock problem. So that's essentially the game. I know that I quit pretty soon, so I really appreciate you guys watching this match between basically the fastest deck in the format and one of the slowest decks in the format, and how they interact. Until next time, I'll see you guys next week with another battle video. Peace!